Hi, and how are you once again? It's Keith speaking, and this time I decided to um, make a video of a continuation to the art in self-employment, or the art for self-employment, to perhaps give a part 2 of the previous video, or the first video, if at all you have had a chance to watch it. I would encourage you to like, subscribe, and share the video where you find a chance to do so. And the more, subscribers and likes that I get, the more motivation I have to unroll out some of this knowledge that most people might at least find valuable in terms of self-development and growth during these times of say COVID-19 or the pandemic, like I had expressed earlier on or before. So in regards to that, or in regards to the continuation of my topic that I had, put out earlier, I would like to give, a broader explanation on how art can be discovered or explored in different ways for different people. And I say that because from the first video that I had made, I basically talked about the ideas of having to draw something, perhaps on a piece of paper, or do any simple artwork that could be on a piece of wood, which is relatively the same, or it doesn't vary so much. And for that reason, I decided, or I thought about it and decided to come up with a way of shining more light on the whole industry of art, because because some things might feel like as if they were left out. So with that being said, I would like to give you a glimpse of what I mean. So we could have forms of art, or different types of art, in, say, art in building or construction. You would have art in metalwork. You would have art in objects that could vary. You might have art in carpentry. You might have, say, art in food. Or you could also have art that could come under something like clothes. Yeah, it's something that was just skipping my mind. You could also have art in music. You could have art. You could have art in acting, and you could also have, say, art in design, or any specific design, provided you are given a job to do so. So how does this art kind of vary? When you take a look at, say, art in clothes, you look at things like how people are able to, form up different designs and maybe put them on already made clothes to add a bit of fashion to them. This could vary. You could perhaps do it manually or have machines to do it. Manually, in a sense that you get a piece of cloth and maybe, should I say, sew something onto it and make it look different. Or you could have a machine that can print words on a piece of cloth, and or print say a picture on a piece of cloth that you have perhaps done with a computer or whichever algorithm you use to do that. You could have art in building. The art in building is something that varies broadly too, because when you look at say architecture, it's a form of art that has been taken to a level where somebody draws something with, say, specific length and dimensions that are put on a piece of paper to bring out a structure of a building. That is something that you would have to go to school for. However, there are other types of art in the building, and the types of art in the building that I'm talking about could be how one can get involved in, say, interior designs of a house. Whatever you might come up with to make the interior design of a place or a house look better, or perhaps give a new feel to it, could be a form of art that you do. This might not be something that you do only in your place or like your house that you live in, but with practice and with a skill, you might have people, hiring you or employing you to just specifically do that art for them in the house. But everything takes practice. We look at art in carpentry. This also varies because we have different objects or different products that could be made out of wood, taking up the shape of carpentry. And with this, you could make tables, chairs, beds, and even simple things, really, that might be interesting, like kids' toys. It can all be in carpentry. You could make monumental, say, writings that can be put in buildings, still in the art of carpentry. You could also decide to sculpture out objects and images that might have a different, might take up a different value depending on whoever is attracted to, buying into it. With that, I would also, talk about art in pottery. Not so common for people these days to, involve or indulge themselves in doing something with the soil, or coming up with an idea to, make or mold something and make it perfect for perhaps purchase by somebody who is interested in it. The reason as to why people haven't, over the time, people haven't involved themselves in this pottery is because we have undergone perhaps development or some changes that we might refer to as development, and these changes have caused a shift, and the shift has really been with the people, from using tools or using materials that were made out of soil like back then to do different things, and resulting to more sophisticated means of getting around. Perhaps like people no longer make the pot as much for cooking food out of clay, or people no longer make should I say vessels that store water. But all these are things that human beings have done from before. So the art in poetry, the art in pottery could really be another thing that you can go for. Depending on how the resources are available to you, and the resources I really mean are resources like the clay soil or the fine clay that you could use to do say a project in whatever object you want to make out of the clay. You must also have some things to put into consideration, like say the fire or the place where you're going to have whatever you have molded out of the soil to like get baked or dried, in a sense that it is hardened for future purposes, not to easily break or to easily get cracked, depending on what it is you're making. We could also go into the art in poetry, and poetry is really a different dimension of viewing art, because it is something that is written. So as something that is written, poetry can easily be, say, motivating to the people that read it, or can cause a certain type of change depending on how a person might think about it. And with art and poetry, we have seen very many people come up and do things that are phenomenal to the society just by writing down something that can easily move or can easily have many readers get interested in it or buy into it. So at the level of money, poetry can be bought depending on your marketing platforms, or depending on the consumers of your poetry. It could be newspapers, it could be schools, it could be children that are trying to learn something. and this content can be bought. In regards to that, we can also talk about the art in acting. So far, we have seen, or we have at least experienced people that get down or sit down and record videos that are literally not videos that are driving any news or a message, but are just for the sake of entertainment to the viewer that is viewing it. So with this, we have cameras that have been put in place. We also have things like voice recorders, or we have even the media platforms where people can record themselves and put their recordings out onto the media, so that then other interested viewers can buy into whatever artwork you have put out in your acting. The same applies to music. Music is that type of art that you might record, with your voice in place, and as you record or as you put these sounds together and perhaps publish them at a certain point, people can easily buy into your art, and it's perhaps visible on different media platforms and in different societies, depending on how you package your art to a consumer. To do with art in acting and music, some of the art might be taken up by consumers, say in the recorded form, which is something that I've explained. Posting your music or videos on a media platform and somebody buys into that. Or you could have the live form of art in acting or in music. And the live form of art in acting or music also takes shape differently, in that you have viewers coming to a certain location one artist is, and from that they can perhaps pay for the art that they're watching or that they are consuming at that specific time. Now, putting yourself in the shoes of an artist, respectively, or depending on the choice that suits you as a human being, is one of the things that you could personally do at a level of self-employment and still be able to earn money, or still be able to have a certain source of income or a certain type of income coming into you. With that being said, I do not mean that the money that you earn is putting a price value to the art that you are producing. It is a way of exchanging that happens between human beings. Okay, money to me is a value, or is a commodity that human beings use to exchange for what they have to get what they do not have. And that easily plays out in the most obvious ways, that when you have money, you can go maybe and buy food from somebody who has done art in the food that they're cooking, and it's perhaps looking good or tasty, so you're buying that food, or you're buying that artwork in the shape of food, to consume, because you are not in the position to perform that type of art, given the chance that you might have the resources or the raw materials to make food. If you have made, say, an art piece and you're selling it, the money that you get, you might use to buy, say, a certain piece of cloth that might help you get through a cold situation, or that might change the outlook of, or might change how you feel about yourself, because you're able to buy something that you have not made. So the person in the business of art to do with clothes has made something that you are using money that you got from somebody that bought a piece of art that you maybe drew on a paper or a piece of wood, and you're basically using the money as a medium of exchange. So there's so much to it in that context, and there's so little to it still in the same context. Why? Because it's a tool that you are using to exchange, to get something that you don't have, or to at least be rewarded for something that you're giving away and that you had. So yeah, I wouldn't like to, overdo or over explain myself on certain things, but at least I've been able to put out the main point, which is how you can use art in various forms or in various situations to get yourself self-employed, even outside the whole situation of people having unemployment, or the whole situation that has brought everyone to a platform where the things that they have been normally doing are not the things that they are involved in, because some restrictions have been put in place. So to discover yourself art-wise is one thing that you could look into, and if you look into it, there you go with self-employment. So I would like to, introduce myself again. My name is Keith, and yeah, if you really like the content in the video, please go ahead and like, subscribe, and share. And perhaps, as this goes on, we might exchange more ideas. Don't forget that there's also the comment button. You could comment or say something that you might, want to put out, but all is said, and I'd like to, just thank you for your time that you have put aside to watch this video, and I'll be getting back to you with another video, this time not on art but something different that could also be a form or a source of self-employment. Peace and respect.